My name is Leah Maurer, and I'm one of the owners of theweedblog.com. My involvement with Mary Jane's The Women of Weed is I was actually reached out to by their director-producer, Wendy Borman. I was just looking it up almost 3 years ago, and she reached out to me and said, I want to produce this film that showcases women in the cannabis industry and in the cannabis space right now and what they're doing, to help push this movement and this industry forward. And so I was actually able to connect Wendy with all of her Oregon ladies and all of her Washington ladies that she showcased, and via their network connected by. So my involvement started pretty early on with the film. I was connected with Wendy via Women Grow, which is a professional networking organization for women in the cannabis industry. And so I am one of the pufferjettes that is featured in a few parts of the film. One of my main reasons for wishing to be involved with this film was because not only does it showcase a bunch of amazing women that are doing amazing things in the cannabis movement and the cannabis industry, but three of the main tenets of the film are social justice, environmental sustainability, and gender parity, which are all three things that are very important to me personally as a cannabis activist, and also should be at the forefront for everyone who's working in this industry right now. And with her taking those three things in mind and going forth and showcasing these women that are all over the United States that are all doing different things that all play in hugely to the big piece of, the big picture of the cannabis movement and where it's at right now is hugely important. It's hugely important, not just for myself as an activist and what's going on in the industry right now, but also for the movement as a whole, and for really pushing towards, tipping cannabis prohibition federally, which is, my biggest goal of all. I would say the things that keep me motivated in the cannabis industry most are still, tie back to my activist roots. I want to see federal cannabis prohibition ended. I want to see women and minorities given a chance, given a low barrier of entry to get into this emerging industry. We're seeing this industry emerge from underground, and it's something that I will never see again in my lifetime. My children will probably never see it again in their lifetime. And I feel that that's just so important right now to be put at the forefront. And this film is really showcasing that. And something else I'd like to add is that I feel that the women movement and the women in cannabis movement specifically is very, very strong in the state of Oregon. And so when we were given the opportunity to try to bring this film and bring this message to people in Oregon by hosting the Portland premiere of it, it just felt like the best fit ever. The women that are in the industry here, there's a larger presence, I think, of women in the industry in Oregon than there are in other states and in other states where it's emerging. And by being able to set that tone and set that precedent for other states and other women that are looking at entrepreneurial ideas or looking at, getting into the industry or looking at, activism and trying to get legalization passed in their own states, this film is not only going to be encouraging for that, but is actually going to show how people have done it in other places and how it works well. So what is a pufferjette? A pufferjette, I guess the simplest way to put it, is a suffragette who puffs or supports puffing is what I would say. As you know, suffragettes were women who helped work for women's voting rights way back when. And now we have this group of women who are pushing for cannabis legalization and the cannabis industry as a whole, and for women to be involved in this. So being able to support the pufferjette movement and being able to host this film in Portland and have Oregon really be able to see this message first before so many other people are seeing, I think is a very powerful thing, and I'm really happy to be a part of that.
I remember what you said.